one, and that's two.
Yeah. We're rolling.
Are you nervous now?
I'm very nervous.
Are you? Is that why I take you so long to get everything ready? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to procrastinate.
I know, yep.
All right, guys, what's up? Here with Carson Hyland out of, Mattoon, Illinois.
Yep.
And so this is actually our first time in a studio, and Carson's joining me because Carson's very good with the audio, the video, and stuff like that. So I told him, I said, as we start rolling, why don't you and I just do the first episode in the studio? And he's a little nervous, but I think it'll go good. Good. And, Carson and I have been going to the gym together for what now, over a year probably?
Yeah, almost 2 years. Probably.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
We kind of became...
the Open's coming up, and we started right before 2 Opens ago, I guess. Yeah.
And we became, I think, quick friends. It's strange, though, because I'm literally 14 years older than you. Like, I was, it's just crazy. But, God puts people in our lives in certain places. But let's just jump into this. What do you want to talk about today? I mean, that's the cool part about this. Like, I don't even know what we're going to talk about.
I have no idea, man.
But we're going to roll with it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself first before we start.
So, from Mattoon, born and raised. Both my parents have been the best parents I could ever ask for. A little bit about myself. I've always been athletic. Not to toot my own horn. I've always been an athlete, not the best, but I played sports. I guess that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Always been active. I really liked outdoors, big hunter. And then once I got out of high school, quit playing sports. CrossFit's kind of kept me competitive, so that's really where that the love for that comes in, and that's obviously how we met. That's about it, man.
And CrossFit is, wow. Like, so being 38, and like you, I was always into sports, but man, I lost that. Well, I found it in running. I started running a lot, but once I started going to CrossFit, my wife went to the Open before me, and she's like, I think you would like this. And I was like, dude, I'm not going to go to CrossFit. I saw on TV. I'm like, I'm not an athlete like that. Yeah. And then I went one time, I'm like, I could do this. And dude, I was instantly hooked.
Yeah, it's
like, this
amazing.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're not only competing against other people, but you're competing with yourself every single time.
Yeah. I was kind of the same way. I always thought about, the culture of CrossFit. And I thought, I might want to give it a try, but I never want to be part of the culture, the cult.
Yes, drink that Kool-Aid.
And then, dude, once I started, the atmosphere has just been so unbelievable. Everyone is so welcoming, so nice. And we've talked about, my wife and I, we've gone on a few vacations, and we try to go to CrossFit gyms, and it's the same everywhere.
That's cool.
We're just in Florida, and the CrossFit owner of the gym, of the CrossFit gym we went to, he was talking about that. He's like, it's like no other big box gym or whatever you want to call it. It's just the atmosphere in the community is just unbelievable.
And how true is that? Because I think that when we we had watched a documentary on CrossFit, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. But you don't know until you go.
Right.
But once we started going, then I'm like, dude, the community of people is well worth it, the membership. Because, one guy, when I first started going, because CrossFit's a little bit more expensive than a gym membership.
For sure.
But he's like, going to a CrossFit gym is like a country club membership.
Yeah.
It's a country club of gyms because you pay a little bit more. However, the quality of people are there to help you get better. They want to see you get better, and they're there to support you. And I'm like, dude, from what I've seen, like you said, we went to different gyms across the country as well, and it's like it's the same thing at every single place. It's just cool.
Yeah.
And, you being 14 years younger than me, that's good for me because it helps me because we're similar builds and, stuff like that. But I love every chance I get to put it to you.
Like you did today.
Yeah. But, I think, too, what's fun about it is it's a fun competition. It's fun competitiveness, because, being completely honest, last year in the Open, then you beat me. And Carson went and he put a picture of himself in my locker. So, being a competitive guy, that's like adding fuel to the fire. Every day I pull it open and look at it, I see your picture there. And I'm like, oh, I'm coming for him this year.
Yes, sir.
But, it keeps it's like that nice competitiveness all throughout the year. So that's cool. Now let's jump into your faith. And you shared a story with me recently about tithing.
For sure.
And would you share that story? I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, let me pull up my notes here. So, like you mentioned, I've always tithed. I was raised in church, so it's something that my parents have always instilled in me. But I had never really thought about how to tithe. It was just, whatever I saw come into my bank account, I paid 10% on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after going, I was actually on the way down to Tennessee with one of my buddies, Dallas. And we were just, I don't know how we got on the topic of tithing, but he was talking about tithing on gross income versus your net income. And I immediately felt convicted because unintentionally I was just tithing on my net. Whatever I saw, the amount I saw on my bank app or whatever was what I paid tithes on.
And what's that saying? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I felt bad, but at the same time, I was so naive to the fact. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't out of greed. I hadn't thought about it. So I talked to my fiance at this time. We're married now, but I said something to her about it, and she was in the same boat. She paid on her net income. So I talked to her. We kind of discussed it a little bit, but never really decided on anything. And then so I talked to 2 people from my church. One, Jeremy Dowdy, very supportive man of God in my life. I look up to him a lot. I talked to him about it, and he was kind of saying the same thing. You pay on your first fruits. And we were also in our marriage counseling class, so I talked to our first lady of our church, and she said the same thing. It's the first fruits. And the more I thought about it, if you're paying on your net income, you're not touching the stuff, because I've got my retirement insurance and that sort of thing, and I'm not paying on the amounts that are going to that. So anyways, we decided to pay on our gross. It was a little bit of a sacrifice, but nothing that was super crazy. Just a little uncomfortable at first.
Yeah, and I think God wants it to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And let's see. I've got dates here. So
I like that you even kept notes of this.
Oh, I know.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got it all right here. So July 19th, I actually accepted a new job. And this was after we had already made the switch from net to gross. And just going from my previous job to my current job, it was a 214% pay increase. And then, let's see here, August 24th.
214%.
214%.
Okay.
Yeah, over double.
And this is once you start tithing on the gross.
Yes.
Instead of the net.
Yeah, so we got married June 26th. July 19th is when I took the new job. Mm-hmm. So less than a month.
Wow.
August 24th, I got an email from a guy that I work for, and he said, hey, you're going to get another increase or another raise, and that raise ended up being 45% additional.
Really?
Yeah, he said the pay increase was going to take place on October 17th, and so I told my wife, obviously, we were super, super thankful.
Yeah.
2 days later, he emails me again and says, hey, you're not going to get this pay increase on October 17th. You're actually going to get it right now.
Really?
Yeah. So from July 19th to August 26th, my pay increased 357%, which is just...
Dude, that's incredible.
Unreal. It's just... And it just keeps coming. I was talking to you the other night. Someone texted me from another job and said, hey, I found this envelope in the back of one of the cabinets where we keep our IV needles. I'm like, that's weird. And it had my name on it. I opened it up. It's another check. Just like...
Dude, that's crazy.
I know. There are no documents kept in this room. It's in our med room where our medications are, and our needles and syringes and stuff. It's like there are no papers, no documentation.
No reason for it to be there.
And it was in this cabinet up on the wall behind some plastic organizers, like stuffed back in there. She's like, I was just cleaning and I just saw it sticking out. It's like, what in the world?
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
But, I think the cool thing, too, is, and you told me about that, but you also shared with me how you were wanting to give back and you were wanting to help support somebody do something else. And I think, I was talking to our pastor recently how, once your blessings are coming in now and monetarily and money, but they come from all different, it's not just, I think a lot of people think, well, you give to get, and stuff like that,
right. Which is nice, but that's obviously not what it's about.
It's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because you're being a steward of your money. That's not our money in the first place. And that's cool. And I was talking to him, and he's like, he's like, I just don't believe in luck. I don't believe in coincidences any longer. so yesterday, my wife and I are planning to go on a date soon, and so I called this place to get reservations, and they're like, when do you want reservations for? I'm like, Friday night? And they're like, people usually call 4 and 5 weeks ahead of time to get reservations. We might have like a 9 o'clock available. And she's like, but let me go look. And she comes back and she's like, someone just canceled for 6 o'clock. Do you want 6 o'clock? I'm like, yep.
There you
and
go.
I told him, but I'm not surprised anymore.
Yeah.
I said, whenever I'm studying the word, I'm obeying, and then, the fruits come back to me. And he's like, yeah, it's just like whenever we have a kid. You don't have kids yet, but I have a kid, and whenever they do good, I want to reward them. I think God's probably the same way. Like, good job, dude. Like, I'm going to reward you.
Absolutely.
I think that's cool. And I like that, that being such a young age, because, I've thought about this before. My wife and I talked about this because you shared that with me a while back, and I was like, when I was his age, because what are you, 24?
Just turned 25 in December. Yeah.
Okay. When I was his age, I was nowhere near a place to be able to handle that type of money. Mm-hmm. None.
Yeah.
But because of the way you were raised, and like you talked about with your family, like your parents are the best things in your lives.
Yeah.
Not that mine were bad.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, I took a different path out of high school and college where I was on the party path and stuff like that. Like, if I would have had that much money, who knows where I'd be at this point.
Right.
So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. All glory to God and my parents, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My church is, like I said, I grew up in church. They've been the best support system. Obviously, I haven't been the greatest saint. I mean, I made my mistakes, but, yeah, they've guided me in the right direction, and so thankful for everything they've given me and my parents. And
so no, this is off topic, but so your dad, you're into hunting.
Yep.
Was your dad a hunter?
Nope.
Was anybody in your family hunters?
So let's see here, man. I wasn't very close with my grandpa on my dad's side. He lived in Bloomington, Indiana, and we saw him for holidays and stuff, but he passed away when I was pretty young. And we were just never super close. I don't know if he hunted or not. My mom's side, it's kind of the same boat. I don't really know.
Really?
I got into hunting because two of my good buddies, I got two really good friends that I fish and hunt with a lot, Trevor and Brian, and they're the ones who really got me into it.
Really?
I'd always had the interest. I'd mentioned stuff to my dad growing up, and he said, yeah, we will, but we never did, so I just got into it with my friends, and it just kind of evolved from there.
Because, the little I've got to know you over the last couple of years, you don't do anything half-hearted either. If you go all in, you're in.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's just interesting how, usually we follow in our parents' footsteps. And if you're that close with your family, I'm like, how did he ever get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that? So that's interesting.
And it's funny because my dad, I've taken him hunting twice. He'll bring his phone and headphones and sit there on it.
Oh, really?
Listen to music and stuff. Yeah, he can't do it.
That's funny.
It's just so different. But yeah, I'm obsessed, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, love it.
That's cool. What else? What else are you into? So now you're recently married.
Yep, just 7 months was 2 days ago.
Nice.
Yep. So
how's it going?
good. Definitely different. A lot of adapting, but not in a bad way.
Because if you're looking at because you guys dated for how long?
Man, almost 7 years.
Almost 7 years.
Yeah.
And you guys never lived together.
Mm-mm.
That's, you look at your background with your parents being good parents, your spiritual background, like, you guys did it the right way. And that's honorable, because nowadays it's, and I think that comes to, I don't want to say it's a lack of parenting.
Yeah.
Because I know that when my wife, at the time, whenever she moved in with me, it was almost like it wasn't even a big deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sacred, thing for kind of like marriage. But
right.
As we get into it now, I'm like, if you look at the numbers, we should have been divorced a long time ago. Mm-hmm. We moved together. We had the premarital sex. We were just partying. We were acting like idiots, like we should have been divorced a long time ago. But we're coming up. This will be year 10. Knock on wood, things are not going, I shouldn't say not going, they're going smooth. But, man, for the first 7 years, like, I was just a jerk.
Yeah.
I was just and it wasn't even I was just being a worldly dude. And I think that's cool with you, because at 25, you were never necessarily, maybe you were into some of the worldly stuff, but also you've had that head on your shoulders where you're like, dude, I'm just.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, actually, the other night at work, one of the ladies I work with was talking about how she found out that her 14-year-old son was staying the night at his girlfriend's house, and instead of, it's kind of a tough topic to talk about in today's society, but instead of disciplining him, she said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just need to just buy condoms and let them know, hey, they're in the bathroom just in case.
Man, isn't that crazy?
I'm like, it's just enabling. And I know that doesn't define a person, but I feel like that's a big part of today's issue is the discipline.
And it is enabling.
It really is, yeah.
Gee whiz, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because, looking at I've got kids that are fairly young, and, like, this morning, I bought them donuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a protein bar, and they're like, thanks, Daddy. I'm like, no. One of these days, you guys will straighten up, and you'll be like, why'd you give us this junk sugar? I'm like, you want it now, and you think it's good, but ultimately, one of these days, I hope that you come back and say, why'd you give me this junk? Because I personally love sugar.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, obviously, I know it's not great for me, but it's one of my weaknesses.
Yeah, for sure. It's terrible.
It is.
I have such a bad sweet tooth. That's why before we started here, I was talking about I'm making this overnight oats, dude. Yeah. That's going to be a lifesaver because that is.
And this thing smells delicious.
Good
like
macros,
I've been smelling it.
And it's good stuff, man.
What kind of berries are in it?
It's just like frozen mixed berries. But I think it's strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries.
That's cool. Now, do you eat healthy most of the time?
I try.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. I like food a lot.
Yeah.
I really like food. I've always been very good. I shouldn't say very good because, as you know, I'm very sporadic. These last couple years, hunting season, I get really bad with the gym. So I try to, but I've always been pretty good about going to the gym and exercising and stuff. But the nutrition, man, it's tough.
So
really tough.
You work a job with sporadic hours.
Yeah.
I know that you don't like to read necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
You're in structure.
Yeah.
What do you have any structure in your life? What kind of structure do you have in your life?
So
do you have a morning routine?
I don't, man. The only I know, dude, for real. Yeah. The only thing that saves me is for the most part, I'm pretty mentally tough. So if I want to do something, I can.
Yeah.
But I don't, man. I don't have and it's not that I don't want to have a morning routine or I don't want to read or that sort of thing. It's just I struggle with I don't know how to explain it. It's like I want to find something that helps me know I'm not wasting my time. So like I want a morning routine that's going to like mean something. I don't want to get up and just take a cold shower and then it not have any benefit to me.
Yeah.
Or that sort of thing.
Well, you talk about being mentally hard. Like, for me personally, I've been on this cold shower kick now for almost 3 years. Mm-hmm. Dude, every single day, it's the mental resistance of, dude, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this. And so instantly, whenever I feel that or I hear that in my head, I'm like, get in. Get in. So I just get in as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But, I know that I'm not competing against anybody else in the world, but I also know, like, dude, how many other people are willing to get in a cold shower for 2 minutes a day?
Oh, it's terrible.
We just started a new discipleship group. We're going through this discipleship book at church, and there's a group of 5 of us in the morning. So the other morning, after we'd met on Tuesday, I sent them a video of me getting in a cold shower when I just turned the water to cold, and I said, just do it. And I know that 4 of the 5 guys did it, and they had never done it before. And dude, that just felt so invigorating. Uh-huh. If you look it up, there's so many health benefits of shocking your system.
For sure.
The immunity parts.
Boost your testosterone.
Yeah, helps fight depression.
Yeah.
All these types. I'm learning more and more about it as I dive in, but I'm like, dude, that's... So I think if you added that to your morning.
Yeah, it could be huge. I just want... I'm a type of person, like, and this totally goes against me telling you that I'm mentally tough, but I want someone to say, hey, do this. Yeah. And then, because it's like forming it. That's what, I feel like I'm just putting insignificant stuff in there. Yeah. And I want it to be meaningful.
I get that. But also, if you're not doing anything...
Yeah, it's not helping me at all.
Because I've got a list of probably 30 different things over the course of the years I've tried for my morning routines. Uh-huh. And right now, I'm just doing a thing basically called a Core 4. So I'm just doing, I should say Core 5, but I'm doing meditation, reading, exercising, and journaling. Yeah. In the cold shower. But that journaling, I tell you what, so I've got...
You say in the cold shower or and the cold shower?
And the cold shower.
Oh, I was going to say, you do that while you're in the shower?
But, I've been carrying one of these around. I call these... my man, you call it your man diary, but I call it my life journal. Yeah. But I've, over the last 3 years, I've just really started journaling a whole bunch.
For sure.
And doing this Core 4, it's a new program I kind of started this year, or Core 5. Dude, I've had a lot of clarity on a bunch of stuff.
Really?
A bunch of stuff, like, going on in my life, and it's like, dude, this has really helped me out emotionally.
You don't have to read it or anything, but, like, what do you write down in it?
Well, like, the other day, and I'll share this with you. So, I've been doing a lot of personal development here recently, and I know that it's taking time away from my family, but also it's not like I'm spending time in a bar. It's not like but also with what we do, we take our kids 45 minutes away to school, and my wife the other day, I'm like, hey, and I don't say it demandingly, but I'm like, I got this, this, and this. You might have to pick up the kids and take them. You have to take them and pick them up. And so I knew that morning that she wasn't happy about it. And so I felt guilty, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I just went throughout my day, and what was it? So later that day, I went home. I went to the gym, but I went home and I cleaned the whole house. I cleaned out the cabinets. I had dinner made and ready for that evening. And I went to pick up my son, and I hadn't journaled yet, but I'm starting to think, and I'm like, dude, I feel guilty, because she also called me. She also called me, and she's like, dude, she didn't call me dude, but she's like, Mike, I just feel like right now, like, I'm doing a lot of this work, and I'm not super happy. I feel like I'm not heard. And I was like, ooh, and that's where our marriage is at now. Like, we can communicate like this, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. But also this was like a 3 to 5 minute conversation. I didn't talk. I sat there in silence. I let her talk. I didn't say a single word. I'm like, just roll, just. And she's like, are you there? I'm like, oh, I'm here. I'm hearing you,
Right.
And so I just let it simmer. And so I get to my son's school, and I had some extra minutes, so I started journaling. I'm like, I now understand I have been operating from a place of guilt all day, because I knew that she wasn't happy this morning, so I'm trying to make it up by doing the dishes, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, and then she calls me, and so I'm like, I get it now. This is a place of guilt. So to be able to understand my feelings, that's a hard thing to do, especially in this day and age, because as men, we're taught to suppress your feelings. You're a man, be tough.
Yeah.
Don't worry about those things. And so we got home that night. It wasn't the best night, but that next morning, I woke up, I'm getting off my stuff, and she's like, did you see your letter? I'm like, huh? She's like, I left a letter on your dresser. And I go to read it, and it's her apologizing, saying, hey, man, I was having a bad day. And, we talked it out after that. I'm like, and I kind of knew that you were having a bad day, but also I don't want you to feel unheard.
Right.
So that was kind of a long answer to your question, but the feelings of guilt were what I journaled about that day. Yeah. And then by the time it all played out, I'm communicating 10 times more with my wife about how she feels and how she wants to feel, and then she's like, I can appreciate everything that you're doing, because you're helping yourself, which is going to help you to become a better dad and father and husband, So that's where we got to.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So
I've thought about it, the journaling.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to write. Like, is it like I didn't know whether it was like a diary, like you see like the girls.
And that's it too. There's sometimes where I'll get to the end of the day and I'll just write down things that sometimes I'll do, and they've got different like journal prompts that you can buy, buy, but just print out, that'll make you just think different things. Like what was a couple of victories today?
Yeah.
Gratitude. I think gratitude's huge. So I do gratitude journaling and I use my cold shower, as I call it my gratitude shower. Because when that water's so cold, I'm like, Jesus, thank you for feelings. Thank you for this cold water. I'm like, I got to take my mind off of it. Because especially in the wintertime, that water is cold.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it, like the other day, some guy at the gym's like, my head was tingling because it's so cold. I'm like, yeah, it starts burning, doesn't it? I'm like, it's just rolling down your body. So, but what, like with your life and your schedule, like, you have such weird hours. Can you have a morning routine? Or would it have to be like an afternoon routine?
Dude, it's hard just because it's not. I mean, the hours suck working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I mean, that's brutal. Thankfully, I only work 3 days a week. But it's not...
Dude, you only work 3 days a week?
Yeah. I work 36 hours. Yeah.
So you have 4 days to get a routine in.
Yes. So that's the thing. But it's not... The hard part is not the hours. It's just that my weeks are so random.
Oh, yeah.
Like last week, or this week, I worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I could work Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. It's just like so random.
Oh, that is random.
And so that's the hard part.
And so it messes up your sleep schedule too,
yeah.
I bet.
Oh, it's awful. Thankfully, just here in a couple weeks, I go to 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Oh, nice.
So that'd be way better.
Do you, how do you get like consistent sleep?
Good luck.
Sporadic.
Yeah.
Because, dude, as I'm diving into this stuff, I realize how important sleep is. Because I'm also a morning person. Like, I think that I have to be up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And if I don't, my whole day might be shot. But as I'm growing into this, I'm like, dude, my sleep is also almost way more important than my structured morning routine.
Right.
So I'm really trying to be consistent on, my 7.5, 8 hours of sleep. Because, dude, I think we as men, we don't sacrifice enough. Is that the right word I'm looking for? sacrifice our wants and our maybe not our needs, but our wants. Because after my kids go to bed, I like to chill out, watch some TV, do some things that I want to do. But also, if I know I got to get up at 5 o'clock, like by 9:30, it's time to start rolling into bed. You know.
Do you feel like your kids make it harder to have routines and morning routines and that sort of thing?
Not necessarily, because we get up so early. Like, I get up at 5. My wife gets up at 5. I'm usually 5:15. So she'll get up at 5 and go into the bathroom first. And then by the time she gets out, then I get up and I get my stuff done. And she goes out to her office, and she has hers. So I'll be in a house. And usually I'll get mine started at 5:15 to 6:15. And then the kids usually will get up at 6:15 or maybe a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing, because they're seeing their mom and dad having routines and doing good things. Right. It's not like we're just... Well, and you know how it is. Most people wake up in a reactionary mode. Like, they're like, oh, crap, my alarm's going off. I got to find my car keys. I got to get my clothes, and I got to get out the door. Where we're both super proactive with our mornings. So,
that's good.
Yeah, that's been very beneficial to us. And I think that, too, like, just having our kids at the gym with us, dude, it's setting an example for them.
Yeah.
So you can, whenever you have kids, bring them to the gym.
Yeah.
And when they see you doing good stuff and going to church. And, I think nowadays, maybe off topic, but with kids and sports, church is almost on the back burner.
Yeah.
Especially with Sunday sports, because I was talking to our pastor the other day, and he's like, you don't understand how many people come to me when our kids go to college and say, my kid, we grew up going to church all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, but did you? Was it a real priority? Because I remember you guys would not come all during softball season because you were going to these softball games on Sundays.
Yeah.
He's like, so if it's not a priority to you, then it's not going to be a priority to your kids when they move out. And I was like, dude, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We when I was younger, I played a lot of baseball. That was like my main sport when I was younger. And so we went to a lot of tournaments and stuff. But my parents were always fairly good about putting church first. And then the older I got, they got more and more, I don't want to say strict, but they let us know.
Well, that's awesome.
Kind of my senior year of high school, we were pretty good. Our golf team was pretty good. We ended up getting like 7th in state. And Wednesdays I didn't go to practice or anything just because I couldn't fit it in with church. And I kind of got some pushback. But I mean,
from the coach?
Yeah,
really?
But not to put him down. He's one of the best coaches I've ever had in my entire life. But just very old school.
Yep.
But yeah, it and like you said, it really puts that in the kid and lets him know, hey, if this is, and it's a respect thing too. I know this is important to my dad.
Yeah.
So whether or not I want to be at practice or I want to go to that match, there's a little bit there that says, hey, I know Dad thinks this is important. So whether or not it's for the right reason or not.
All right. So you shared with me earlier this year that one of your goals was to read 6 books this year.
Hey, I said 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah. I'll do 6 though. If you wanted me to do 6, I'll do 6.
But you've already. Hey, they're not my goals; they're your goals. I had somebody at the gym tell me that the day. I said, he's like, I'm not working out for you. I'm working out for me. And I was like, okay. But you've already plowed through 1 book. This year.
5 days.
Oh man!
Yeah.
See, that's a cool thing about reading. And what was that called? That was a good book, wasn't it?
It was Dopamine Nation. I can't think of the author off the top of my head. She's a psychiatrist. It was good.
And I think that's probably something all of us guys should read because we're chasing that dopamine, those dopamine hits these days.
Yeah, it was good. The starts off kind of weird. I sent you the picture of the first chapter.
Oh yeah.
It started off a little weird, but it was good. There's a lot of talking about like drug addiction and that sort of thing, but there's a lot of other stuff. Like the author, she kind of interjects her own addictions of reading these like romance novels. And it kind of looks at it from the opposite way. Like instead of reading for like knowledge and personal growth and that sort of thing, it turned into something where she was like literally having like withdrawals from reading.
Oh man, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and it all just goes back to the dopamine and that sort of thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty
because I've heard
interesting.
that like women can get into those romance novels like that.
Oh yeah.
It's just probably like us binge watching TV shows. And you're reading because some of those fiction books, man, they can send you down a wild road.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got 1 in the books. So like you said, you're gonna do 6. So you got 5 more, and you got 11 months to get it done.
Yeah.
So I think you can probably handle that.
I think so. Yeah. This one was kind of an anomaly because I had COVID, was on quarantine, so I literally had nothing to do. So it was a mixture of it was a good book, but I literally had nothing else to do.
So one last question before we get out of here. You're out of school. You're in the real world now. if you could go back to the school system and take a course, knowing what you know now, what would it be? What would it be on? Like, is there anything in life that you wish you would have learned more of?
Probably, God, I don't know, man. There's business and finance probably. Just because I literally, and this is probably going to be terrible, but I literally did not know how to write a check until I was like 20 years old.
Oh, are you serious?
I
That's
swear.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe most people don't.
Yeah, and so
Especially these days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything's card or,
Yep.
Cash. So I literally didn't know. There's a lot of stuff that just the school doesn't teach you about that.
Yep.
Like retirements and stuff. And thankfully, I've kind of got a grasp on it now. But 401ks, 403bs, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs.
Yeah.
All these accounts for your kids. I don't even know what they are. 1029 or something.
Yeah.
I have no clue. But there's just so much of that is just so over my head. And especially with taxes and stuff coming around the corner.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, I don't know any of this stuff. The IRS is so scary.
And I think ignorance is bliss. What you don't know, you don't know. And how are you supposed to know it if you don't know it? You know, and like I said, if they're teaching that stuff in school, you might have a good idea.
Yeah.
Who was it? Dave Ramsey. I guess he's got a course now that you can teach in high schools. I'm like, that would have been very beneficial.
The Financial Peace University?
I think so.
Yeah, they do that. They teach that in my church.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, my wife and I haven't done it yet, but I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. I listen to his podcast pretty frequently.
Yeah.
So he's got some good stuff. Some of it I feel like is a bit extreme, but
yeah.
for the most part, I feel like he's got good stuff.
Yep. He's helped a lot of people out.
Yes, he has. Yep.
Well, Carson, I appreciate you taking the time to step
me.
in here with us. And like I said, you and I are now kind of in this together because you're going to be doing this video and audio stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I appreciate you
not a problem
hanging out. So
I do want to make a disclaimer in this video here. We have had some hiccups, so it's not going to be perfect, but we're trying. This is our first kind of run through, so
it's our first rodeo.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yep,
it'll be good.
We'll figure it out.
I got a Structure You hat now, so that means I'm officially on the team.
You are officially on the team.
Yep.
So we are good to go.
All right, thanks, bro.
All right. See you, brother. I think that went good.
Well, what's this? Hold on. Why is this counting now? No way. No, it didn't change on here.
Really?